So if God is giving you a nudge to put something out there, even if you only have the 40% rating, He will provide the 60% along the way. It took me 8 years to get one book out, and the book ain't even that big. Growing up, I used to say I wanted to be Barbie. I was like, I don't think you've seen how I draw, so we're not gonna do that. And it was really birthed out of a low place. Like, I was going through a really bad depression. I was really just kind of all over the place mentally, but I remember one night, I was like, I just want to create something.
Hi, Michaela.
Hi, Taylor.
I'm so excited to be with you today. I've grown to know you as a leader, as an author, as a communications expert, as a ministry leader, and just an amazing woman of God and a friend and a kind human being. I'm so grateful that you're spending time with me today. And I would love for you, in your own words, to just speak to who is Michaela.
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I feel honored to be a part of the Taylor sphere, is what I want to call it. But yeah, like you said, community leader, communications professional. I work for U.S. Soccer currently in internal comms. I have my own women's community called Raw Cove, which is a ministry for all women to just come together and feel like they are one with God in their most raw form. Outside of that, I attend Victory Church. I serve there on our prayer team. I love my family, I love my friends, I love just connecting with other women of God in spaces like this. And I almost forgot I'm an author, like you said.
Yeah, you can't forget that. You have two published. Yes. Well, no more than that, because you publish devotionals and children's books.
So I have a women's devotional, and then I also have 2 children's books. And so it's the Little Miss Peyton's series. It's all about a little girl named Peyton who goes throughout her day saying prayers. She has a sweet moment with her grandma where her grandma teaches her amazing grace. And so the purpose of the book series is for children to learn how to have a relationship with God at a young age. So I love writing, I love creativity, I love connectivity. All those things are just kind of what make Michaela.
And those are all amazing things and also so vast. You touched on a lot of stuff. What really lights you up, what makes you shine. And you mentioned work that you do, and I'm wondering, like, beneath that, what lights you up and makes you shine?
I think just being able to serve others, even with my job, like, working in sports is kind of like, well, how are you really serving other people? But people love sports. That helps their mental health. That's something for them to get out and do something fun with. And because I work on the internal side, I'm actually helping to get information to our staff members and helping them to feel included in the workspace and like there's a place for them. And so that's what I do professionally. That's what I do, just spiritually outside of work with my community. Just making sure that we're serving like all different populations and bringing women into a space where they feel like they can truly just be. I also do mission work with my church, so I love to volunteer locally, but also I've had the opportunity to go on 2 mission trips where I was able to help people in different countries. And so I think the foundation for me is just being able to serve God's people in whatever way I can, through writing, through serving, through communicating professionally, just all the things that I do. As long as I know that I'm serving someone, that's kind of what keeps me going.
That is so beautiful, and it reminds me, having like a servant leader's heart is basically the model we have through Jesus, serving other people, and I can totally see that in the work that you do. And I'm wondering, like, when you were a little girl and you dreamed about who you're going to become and like your future, I don't think most of us think I'm going to be a servant leader or I'm going to serve others. So like, how does it compare what little Michaela, like 5, 6, saw and where you are now, what you dream about?
Oddly enough, growing up, I used to say I wanted to be Barbie. And I tell people this all the time.
I love it. I want to hear those stories.
Because Barbie, you change her clothes and whatever she has on, that's what she is for the day. And because I didn't have one specific thing, like, some people grow up, they're just like, I know I want to be a doctor, or I want to be a veterinarian. Like, I was never that person. I'm like, I want to be a singer one day, or I want to be a teacher the next day. Like, I would line my dolls up and teach them randomly. So I just knew that I had so many different like interests and gifts and talents, but I didn't know how to obviously put it into 6-year-old terms. So that to me was Barbie. And so I see that in what I do now because I'm just from ministry work, different industries that I've been in. I've gone from sports, well, I started with transportation and government to higher education to sports, back to higher education, back to sports. And just even the people that I've had the opportunity to serve, I've done so many random volunteer opportunities in my life, but it's because I just don't want to stay in a box. And so I think me saying that I wanted to be Barbie was basically me saying that Michaela doesn't want to be boxed in, and that's the life that I try to live now. So whether it's through my career, whether it's through ministry, like I just don't want to be like that one lane. Like I just have so many different interests. I like to create, whether it's like through graphic design, I like reading, I like podcasts. Like I just like doing all the things. So I just wanted to be a Barbie outside the box, pretty much, and that's what I hope I'm doing now.
I absolutely think you are, and I love that explanation. It resonates with me deeply as somebody who wanted to be a football player, a lawyer, a teacher, a hairstylist, a singer, on TV, like Claire Huxtable. There was a whole myriad of roles, and like you said, I didn't want to pick. I was like, oh, I'm going to do one thing each day of the week.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I? The adults in my life didn't understand it, but I think you are living proof now that there's a version of life that doesn't have to be just one thing. You can, and I love that you have given yourself the permission to explore and to test and to see. And you mentioned like your corporate path, which I want to talk about because it has been, you know, not one thing. But before that, I would love for you to speak to the writing piece and the creativity, because a lot of people say, oh, I want to write, or, you know, grow up connecting to writing and books as children, but you took that from being interested to actually producing not one, but 2 children's books, both of which I have that my daughter loves. So speak to, they're great books. Everybody should buy the books. But speak to like how you cultivated that desire and interest in one part of your Barbie life of writing into actually doing the thing.
Yeah, so I used to enter essay contests when I was younger, I think maybe elementary school, and I don't know if it was for a fair or school or what it was, but when I first won a prize for an essay contest, that's when I realized like I can actually write. Like I love stories, I love to read as a child, and just being an only child. So I'm not my dad's only child, but I grew up with my mom as an only child. So when you're the only kid in the house, it's like you have nothing but your imagination because you don't have siblings that you can play with.
I can relate.
Yeah. So I would just create all these stories with my dolls, and I think watching soap operas with my great grandmother. I had like Love and Hip Hop going with my dolls, like just, you know, really grown scenarios. But I think it was just opening my mind to see that I can create whatever type of scenario that I wanted to. And that's what fueled my love for storytelling. And so from there, like I said, entering the writing contest, English was always like one of my favorite subjects in school. I didn't like the process of actually like physically writing, but I loved when everything came together into a story at the end of all the physical writing. And so I just always knew that that was something that I wanted to incorporate into my career some kind of way. Okay. And it translated up until like high school when I got onto the yearbook staff and we were writing stories that way. And then even in college, I worked for several like smaller online magazines. And that's when I decided I wanted to have my own blog because I wanted to eventually have a magazine at some point. So my original dream in college was I changed my major to journalism with a PR track, but I wanted to move to New York, work for a big magazine company, become editor-in-chief, and that was like my thing. So having a blog just really, that's back when blogging was like super huge, like the girls were meeting up, had blogging communities, and that was the thing that I was doing throughout college and even post-college because I just love to write so much. But when it came down to actually publishing books, I don't know if that's something I thought was going to be a possibility for me. I wrote my first children's book my junior year of college, and I had this idea because I loved mentoring the youth and I loved writing. I wanted to blend it into something where I could just pass down lessons that I learned to the youth, and so that's where Peyton's Little Prayers came from. But, you know, being a junior in college, I didn't know anything about self-publishing. I didn't know anything about publishing in general. So it wasn't until like later on in life that I was able to actually get the book published, but the seeds were planted during that time. And so that's when I started thinking a little bit more about books and like, oh, I could potentially become an author too. Like maybe, you know, the magazine thing won't work out, but I can still have something that I can call my own. And so it just took years of me continuing to blog, continuing to write poetry, just writing things on my own. I've never really shared my poems. I just started on Substack with like one post. So I want to do that a little bit more, but continuing to learn about publishing, being connected to the right people. And then I was able to get my book published, and that's when I realized like, oh, this is something I could actually do. And I don't even have to wait on like a publishing company to do it. I did have a publishing company help me with the children's books, but even for the women's devotional, just doing it on my own was something that I just never thought that I could do. So yeah, it just took years of me just believing that I could continue to hone in on my writing skills and to find different outlets for me to share my writing. And so I'm not a blogger anymore, but like I said, I just started on Substack, so I'm trying to get back to those like quick little articles here and there. But yeah, I have more like books in me coming soon, so we'll see what happens.
That is a beautiful journey. And the piece that stood out to me when you were sharing that is that you wrote the first book junior year.
Yes.
When that was, I'm guessing like what, 2014, 15?
Ooh, yeah, 2015.
2015.
Yeah.
When did you publish that first book? Because I know it was
2023.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is what I. So, 8 years from when you first wrote it to when you actually published it.
Yeah.
Put me in your like head at that time. Had you been thinking and trying to get it published that whole time, or did you kind of write it and then sit it down? Did you have some potential opportunities and then some setbacks? Like, put me there, because I think so many people have a dream and they're like, yeah, it's gonna work tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then 8 years is not tomorrow. That is a long time to be have like a dream deferred, if you will. So like, I don't want to put words in your mouth. You tell me what that part was like.
Yeah, so all the things you named happened. I went from being so confident that this is going to be self-published as soon as I wrote it. I remember at the time I talked to my professor because he was a children's book author. And he was just like, yeah, I just draw my own illustrations. And he was like, just do that because it's a children's book. Like, they don't need to be perfect. I was like, I don't think you've seen how I draw, so we're not going to do that. But I remember going through this full process of having him read it and just connecting with him. And I was like, okay, like this is going to be easy. I just need to find an illustrator. I didn't realize that it's so hard to find an illustrator. Well, it was back then.
Okay.
But for me, like not knowing to go into Facebook groups or connecting with people online, I was just like, well, how do I find an illustrator? I think maybe a year or so later, I had another college classmate who published a children's book. So I connected with him, and he gave me his illustrator. I worked with that illustrator for maybe like a year, almost 2 years, and you know, setbacks, things happened, wasn't a great relationship. He's a phenomenal illustrator, so I have like nothing bad to say, it just wasn't aligned for us. And so I think after that, I kind of got a little bit discouraged, and then I started to post on Twitter like, hey, I'm looking for an illustrator. I had somebody reach out to me. That didn't work out. I actually don't remember what happened with that. I think we just got it like lost in connection. And so then I put it down for some time, and then I got connected to another illustrator, and then nothing ever came of that. And so eventually, you know, when you're trying to get a job and like you're working, and then also during this time I went to grad school, like it was just a lot happening. So it wasn't a linear journey of me just always seeking an illustrator, always seeking the process. But you know, every year I would have like a burst of energy to just pick this thing back up. And then it wasn't until I got a job with the Hawks in 20...
That's the Atlanta Hawks.
Yes, the Atlanta Hawks, yes.
People don't know.
Yes.
Them.
Yeah, our basketball team here. That was in 2021. I actually met our CMO. I worked under her on the marketing team. And I met with her because I wanted to connect just to see how I can grow in the sports field. And then we ended up talking about my personal endeavors. And so she was like, oh, I know a publisher. Like, that's my friend. She published my book. And so then I was able to get connected to this publishing company. And that's when things started to fall into place where I actually got it published 2 years later. And so it took a lot of like ups and downs, a lot of researching, a lot of times where I'm like, oh yeah, I did have this book that I was going to publish, but you know, life and family and jobs and all the things just kind of got in the way. But I will say I'm glad it happened that way, because had I published it when I wanted it to, the journey would not have been the same. I don't know what it would have looked like. I believe that God can bless anything, but I just don't think that I would have appreciated it as much as I appreciate it now. And I don't think it would have had the same impact. And I probably would have just published that one book and then just kind of forgot about it because I was so young. Not saying that you can't do it young, but just mindset was just so young that I wasn't like, oh, let's keep this thing going. And I didn't even know I wanted it to be a series at the time. But now I know that I want it to be a series. I know the impact I want to make, and I'm sure about the journey that I want to go on. And so God's timing is always the best timing, no matter how long it takes. And I know that's not easy to hear, but it always works out in.
That is a very, very fruitful story that I think a lot of us, even self-included, needed to hear, because yeah, we like to see instant gratification.
Yes.
We're in a world where if you want it, Amazon can deliver it to you in, you know, maybe 6 hours sometimes. So having to wait that long, I imagine maybe also made it a little bit more gratifying when you did get it. And I heard you say that you felt like the path was the one that it should have been, even though if you could have written it, you maybe wouldn't have written it that way.
Yes.
Okay. People need to hear that. I need to hear that. So thank you for sharing. There is another piece you mentioned in that story that I didn't know that I'm curious to dig into, which is someone at the Atlanta Hawks is how you got connected with your publisher that you ended up going with. But I know a lot of folks in corporate take that journey and try to really separate and divide their passion projects, their side quests, whatever you want to call it, from their corporate work, because they don't want people to know what they do outside, or they try to like keep a very compartmentalized life.
Yeah. And
I have been guilty of that. So how do you view the mixing or intermingling of your passion work with your 9-to-5 corporate work, and how do you normally mix it, or how did that come about?
Yeah, so that's a really good question, because you know, I grew up, I think our parents are probably similar, where it's just like your work life is your work life, your separate life needs to just stay separate. Yes. And
absolutely.
A lot of us still operate from that, and I understand that there are some companies where you actually do have to operate in that mindset. But when she asked me the question about like what do I do outside of work, I admit that I was a little bit nervous to say like, well, I do this and I have this thing and all the things. But she gave me, and shout out to Melissa Proctor, that's what I'm talking about. She gave me the confidence to just really say what it is that I'm doing and not be apologetic about that. So I will say now, the way I view it is, this is a part of me, and when you hire me, you hire all of me. And there was a time where I was scared to say that my books were even faith-based. Like, I would tell people I'm an author, but they're like, oh, well, what does your book talk about? And I'm just like, oh, it's just a little girl and everything. And I was like, no, it's a little girl who believes in God, and this is the project that I want to put out to the world. This is the impact that I want to make. And I know you're probably Joe from finance and don't care, but this is what it is. And I even used to be scared to even talk about my relationship with God at work, but then I realized God is the whole reason I'm here at this job. My prayer got me in this room. It wasn't a LinkedIn message. It wasn't a connection. Like, he's the one that made that connection. So I'm not going to be shy talking about God and talking about the things that he's done in my life outside of this. And once I got out of that mindset of like everything has to be separate, now I'm not telling them my business. I don't tell them every event that I go to.
That's an important distinction. Thank you.
They don't know my business. I'm not adding them on Facebook, anything like that. I don't tell them every book event that I go to. But they do know what I do, because I think it's important to know that my life, that I have a life outside of this. And I'm not just someone who just sits at my desk and like, this is just all that I think about. And so it's also encouraged other people, like conversations I've had with people, they're just like, oh, I had this project that I really need to pick back up, and I see you're doing it while you're working full time, so let me do it. And so once I started to hear people's stories of how they started to just learn a new skill or pick up a new project based off of our conversation, I realized that me holding back is actually, it could hinder somebody else. Like, God may have placed me in this conversation for a reason. So I use discernment when it comes to talking about things, but I also don't shy away from telling people at my job what I do because, like I said, someone at my job got me into the door, that God made that connection, and so it just shows that God can make a connection anywhere, even in your professional role. So I'm not shy about it anymore. Y'all know I write these books.
Yes, absolutely. And it is not only helping the people who got your book because of the publishing connection, but it's helping people who had their own dreams that were maybe dormant or not something they were focusing on, and you help them see that it was possible. And that is, to me, the beauty of being a walking, living testimony and allowing your light to shine for others so that men may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. That's why Shine is called Shine, and it's about allowing other people to see what's possible. And so I absolutely adore that you told that. Thank you for your transparency. And I needed you in my life when I was in my early corporate stages, because when I started wanting to pursue things outside of work more intently, I didn't tell anybody. And anytime people would find me, or even when I started posting TikToks and someone would find me, I would try to block them because I was so afraid of what they might say. And it's crazy now that I hear myself saying it. I'm like, why would you do that? Yeah. But I really had this fear that everything had to be separate, and that my faith didn't really have a space in a corporate environment because of how people might feel judged or what their past experiences with Christians were like. But now knowing more, I can't begrudge my old self, but I welcome hearing other people already know that and do that and be better in that way, because it's so important, everything you said. So thank you for sharing that.
I'll even give you a tangible example of that. Like my second time working at Georgia Tech, our offices got moved to the top floor of the Barnes & Nobles at Georgia Tech. And so by that time I had written my first children's book and was working on my second children's book. And because people found out that I had a book there, I was able to connect. So one of my clients was Barnes & Nobles. Like I was doing communications for them. And so I was able to make a connection with the store manager, and she was like, we feature authors here all the time. Like, we can put your book in the store. So because of that, I got both of my books placed in the store, and I've had 2 book signings there at Barnes & Nobles. And that was my first time actually having my book placed in like a major store like that. And so even to this day, now that I'm not working there, the books are still there, and I was told that I could come back and do another book signing if I wanted to. So it's like, if I didn't say anything or if I shied away from it, like I wouldn't have been able to have my books placed in a Barnes & Noble. Like, who doesn't want that to happen? So
come on.
You have to speak up about these things and don't be shy about it.
Yes. Okay, this is so good. I appreciate you taking us through this, and now I want to maybe focus in on the women's ministry part of it, because I don't know when Raw Cove was started, and I know that has also helped so many people ignite and reignite their dreams and their connection to Christ and to other women in Christ. And so can you tell me, in this book writing journey and in your corporate journey, where does Raw Cove fit in the timeline, and how did that come about?
It's a good question. So I started Raw Cove in February of 2023. But the idea came to me, I think maybe fall of 2022, and it was really birthed out of a low place. Like, I was going through a really bad depression. I was really just kind of all over the place mentally, but I remember one night just sitting on my couch, and I was like, I just want to create something. And honestly, in my mind, I was thinking like, just a cute little community where maybe like 5 to 10 girls can come together, get closer to God and things like that. God gave me the name Raw. Like, he just kept placing the name Raw on my heart, and I was like, I feel like I've heard Raw before with the women's ministry, so I'm not gonna call it just Raw Women's Ministry. And then he gave me the Cove piece because he reminded me that when I talk to him, I imagine myself on a peaceful cove with him. And so when people come to the events and things that I thought I was gonna host, or the Bible studies that I thought I was gonna host, I wanted them to feel like they were on a peaceful cove with God and their most like raw, authentic selves. So I thought I was going to start at the end of 2022, but I had like a really bad panic attack at work, and to the point where like it physically affected me. So I wasn't able to have this event that I was going to do. It was like a vision day party or something like that. We created vision boards and stuff together, and it was just my friends. But I just feel like God had it happen that way, because when I released it in February 2023, I was able to also do a prayer call that same day that I released it. The same day I released it, I actually got rebaptized. So it was just like a whole rebirthing moment that happened. And when I posted it, I realized like, oh, this may actually be a little bit bigger than what I thought it was gonna be. And then I posted on TikTok about it, and some women just started connecting with me there. I had this idea of doing like a picnic, so we got together for, it's called Sunday Sunset, and it's just like an end of week reset where we had some food, we just kind of bonded with each other at a cute park in, I think, Dunwoody. And once I posted that on TikTok, people, even from like South Africa, were reaching out like, where's this located? And it was like, unfortunately not Africa, but
not yet.
Not yet. Some women from Texas got connected, and then I started Bible studies, and just seeing women from north and west and everything just coming into the Bible studies was like amazing. That's just not what I thought it was going to be like. And so these last 2 years, or the first 2 years, because we did hit 3 years this year, we were doing events, we were doing Bible studies, prayer calls, volunteer opportunities, just connecting women in Atlanta, beyond Atlanta. And it even played a role in my writing because they inspired me when it came to writing. I saw that this is also ministry work, the same way that my writing is ministry work. And so it went hand in hand for a while. Last year we did take a sabbatical, and I'm still on that sabbatical because I'm waiting on God to just give me the okay to move forward. We are taking a bit of like a pivot, so things will look different in the future, but Raw Cove was something that, transparently, I tried to give it back to God. I was like, God, this is a lot. They see the cute events, they see the social media, and they're just like, oh, we love this, but it's just a lot that goes into it when you are creating something that his souls are coming to. Like, that's a heavy weight, and I didn't think that ministry was going to be what it was called. I was like, no, just organization, community, like, not ministry. But it is ministry work, and so I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know when God is going to say, let's start this thing back up. But I am excited to see like what the next phase of Raw Cove is. So we'll see. Stay tuned.
Yes, we will absolutely stay tuned. And if it's okay, I would love for you to talk to some of the challenge that has existed in carrying your calling, because I think a lot of women who are multi-hyphenate and they're multi-passionate and they see the world at like a God level. They see, wow, Lord, you can do so much. And I believe in you, in me, to be able to do all of this. And then they start doing, it's like reality. Yes. And for a lot of people, it hits them and they don't get back up. Or they just give up and see something as, okay, that was a passion I once did. That was a book I once wrote that I'm not going to publish. But you've seen God show up in your corporate, in your ministry, and in your creative space, even though there's setbacks. And I think people need to hear what it looked like for you to face some of those setbacks to whatever degree you're comfortable sharing, so that they have an idea of what it looked like for you and how you kind of found yourself out of it. Can you take us there?
Absolutely. It's heavy. It is really heavy when you, so like I said, I thought this was just going to be cute, fun, we love Jesus, but it quickly turned into people really pouring out what they're going through, and me having to even go deeper in my scripture, because I always tell people, like, when you come to my Bible studies, I'm learning too, so we're learning together. But I also realize that if I'm going to lead a Bible study, I need to know what I'm talking about, because I've sat in some situations where it's like, did you open the passage that you're preaching on? So I never wanted to be that girl.
I can relate, yes.
Yes, and so even me saying that it was birthed out of a dark time, I realized that it was birthed that way because women were going to come to me during their dark times. And it's like you almost have to tell yourself that I can't carry all of this. Like, God is using me as a vessel to be there for you all, to pray for you, to create community and space for you to come and become closer to Him. But my job is not to save you all. Like, that's His job. I'm here to plant the seeds. I didn't always get that because I did have kind of a savior's complex. Like, oh my gosh, you're going through something. Let me make myself like 100% available to you. And it burned me a lot of times because now I had people that were like dependent on me. It's like they didn't even pray on their own. It's like, Michaela, I need you to pray for this because Michaela just has this magic hotline to God that y'all don't have. I'm like, no. You can pray on this too.
Yeah, please.
And so it became a pressure, and it's not me speaking negatively about these women, it's just like, this was a time for me to also learn boundaries when it comes to working in ministry, because it's like, you want to be accessible, you never want to be that pastor that walks in the church and it's like they're guarded by their entourage and then they immediately leave, and it's like, you don't know your pastor, you're just going to the church for a celebrity pretty much. I never wanted that to be the case, but I also knew that I needed things around me that just kept me poured into, and that was something that I didn't have this first go around because I wasn't equipped pretty much. And then also, it's just a matter of, yes, you're doing a picnic and somebody else may be doing a picnic where it's just a networking thing. But your picnic, when you say that it's Christ-centered, now you're talking about different souls coming here and they're looking to be poured into from a Christ-centered perspective. That adds a different weight than just, oh, this is just going to be a cute event. And so there were times when I would leave an event and I'm just like bawling, crying, because nobody understood that there's just such a spiritual weight that comes with it. And I think because I carry things so well, like I don't look like what I'm dealing with sometimes. It's just like, oh, well, let's do this again next month. Or when is this going to come back? And I'm like, y'all, I'm struggling. I'm really struggling. I've had a great team, and they're still here with me today, who helped me a lot of times. But some things you just have to carry on your own, and I just was not prepared for any of the things that I was carrying. So it's been tough, and then you just have like the practical things where it's like setting up for an event. You know, I don't have like all the decorations in the world, but even a little bit that I have my 2 little carts that I'm rolling from my apartment to one place to another. I'm spilling out of my apartment because I have all of these supplies and I don't have like an actual storage place for these things. Money is a thing. I've been blessed to have people pour into the ministry, but a lot of it has come out of pocket. So that was also something that was hard. And then just some days just needing the support, or like, you know, after everything is packed up, everything is torn down and Bible study is closed, like whatever. When you're just sitting in the room by yourself and there's nobody there, like, you know, God is there, but sometimes you just need somebody to just hold you for like 30 minutes and be like, okay, you did good. Like, just release everything that you're feeling. So having to carry a lot of stuff alone has been hard. And when I say alone, I'm not saying that I don't have a support system. I have a great support system. I have amazing women like you covering me, and I feel that. But there genuinely are some times that you just have to just sit and just be by yourself, and that's not easy. And then also, this ministry has revealed a lot of things within me that still need to be dealt with. So cycles that I'm facing, things that women are telling me are their struggles. I'm like, well, dang, I didn't even bring this before God for myself. Mm-hmm. So I'm praying for them. Even with my church prayer team, I'm like, I'm praying for people. And I'm praying about things that I don't even know if I fully believe in myself. Like when I say you can be healed, do I really believe that I could be healed? Because I'm also dealing with the chronic pain that has been happening for year after year after year. And so I'm declaring and decreeing over your body that you're healed, but within myself, it's like my faith is dwindling. And so I feel like that's a part of the reason why God has had me sit down in this season, because it's like, I need to take care of some things within you. Not saying that you have to be 100% healed to do ministry work, because if you're 100% healed, you're in heaven. So there you go. It's always going to be a journey, but I do feel like God takes us through these pauses, and it's not a stop, it's a pause, to really just pour back into us to work on some kinks and get those things out so that we can move forward to the next step. And then there's going to be another pause where he has to do another reshuffling in our lives. And so I'm just allowing myself right now to just sit in the pause, to try not to have imposter syndrome when I see other people doing things and having events, and also not getting discouraged by the fact that, you know, people may be pulling away from the ministry because it's like, well, nothing's going on, so why am I in this group chat, or why am I still following this page, and like not checking my social media as much, like, dang, I missed when we did this holiday party or this Bible study, or like, should I do an impromptu prayer call so they can still know that we're here? Just things like that, where I'm just really having to be okay with the silence that's happening, because I know that I'm not 100% where I need to be to even lead a community of women right now, especially where God is taking me, because I keep hearing global, people are prophesying global over me, and I'm just like, that's not what I asked for. But if this is what the Lord wants to do, then I really do need to just allow him to fill my cup back up so I can pour from overflow, because I have been pouring from an empty cup for quite some time now. So it's heavy, but it's worth it.
It is, and you smile through it, but I know that the things you said are not light. They're not minor. So I acknowledge that, and I thank you for pouring out, but also being discerning and clear when God is telling you to pause. Because a lot of us with gifts and service-minded hearts don't always know that we need to pause and protect and put boundaries, as you said, around our gifting and around our calling. We feel like God called me to do it, so I just gotta do. But there is a space for stillness that is biblical. Rest, Sabbath, all of that is not made up for no reason. It exists because we need it. And so I just honor the fact that you're being obedient in the season, regardless of what the aesthetics of that might look like. Being clear about what you're called to do and when is very important. And I would love it. You spoke to your support system. You said you have it. You spoke to having to set boundaries, but take me there, because that is hard for a lot of women who feel like they have to serve. How do you set your boundaries around your work, either corporate, ministry, all of that?
Yeah, it takes a lot of just paying attention to even just your physical body, your spiritual self. You really just have to pay attention to you. So when you're pouring out a lot, we forget us, because we're thinking like God just wants us on this battlefield. He wants us to serve.
Not the battlefield.
The battlefield. But rest is not a suggestion in the Bible. Like you said, it's literally something that He has commanded us to do. And so once I started paying attention to the fact that I'm getting irritable, like I mentioned, I'm having a hard time praying for people because of what my beliefs are telling me. Physically, I just feel tired. If I'm crying after every event and it's not happy tears, it's just tears of exhaustion, that's a sign that something is not well within me. And so I need to pause. So I think setting boundaries first requires you to just really look into yourself and realize that you're not superwoman. I know us women, we are just, I'm every woman, it's all in me, and yeah, but no.
Right. Great song, bad message.
Great song. Beautiful song. However, God is within you. God is the one that gives you strength. God is the one that pours back into you and allows you to even have the capacity to do these things. And so when God is telling you pause, you need to pause. Also being okay with saying no. I have not only taken a sabbatical from Raw Cove, I stepped down from my prayer team for a while so I can get spiritually fed. But I've even had to say no to requests from friends, families. If I can't go out that night, I can't go out that night. If I can't do something for you, I can't do it. Boundaries at work are important too. So at 5 o'clock, I have a lot of coworkers that are like, oh, we have to keep going because this is important. It's important to me, but it's also important that I get it done between the hours of 9 to 5.
Period.
I may have 1 or 2 days when I could give y'all an extra hour, a little 30 minutes here and there, but that can't be my norm. Even something as simple as getting up, having my lunch breaks. I have to do that. It's important because your professional life bleeds into your personal, which bleeds into your spiritual. Everything is interconnected. So days when I'm working from home, it's so easy for me to get cozy. I have this really nice chair in my apartment. It's so cozy. So I'll just find myself working for hours on the computer because I'm just chilling in my chair. And I'm like, no, you need to get up, you need to touch grass, you need to take your full hour break even when you're home. Because sometimes we feel guilty because it's well, I'm home. But no, I need a break as well. Even just simple things of taking a solo trip or going on a belt line, taking a walk, just doing something that is for you has helped me a lot. But also putting things in place where everybody doesn't have 100% access to you. So I had a situation that happened early in my ministry. And I won't say specifically what it was in case this person's watching. We're good now. But it was a real life situation that it just wasn't fair that it was put onto me. But it was because I had offered so much of myself to this person that I was like, anything you need, if you need me to pray for you, here's my number, whatever it is that you need. And when it came down to this situation that I was not trained to deal with, because that's not even what I signed up for, I was at a crossroads, and so I handled it the best way that I thought that I could handle it. That person didn't feel that I handled it that way. And so it's like, it was placed on me, and now you're mad at me for how I handle it. Now I'm stressed, now I'm triggered based off of my own situation with this particular circumstance. And you have moved on, and I'm the one that's still like reeling from it. And my mental health was shot for like a few weeks because of it. And so talking to my mom, she was just like, well, what do you have on your site in place for people who are dealing with like really tough situations? Because you're not a social worker, you're not a therapist, you're not trained in any of these things. You're literally just a woman who said yes to a ministry. And so I was like, well, I don't have anything in place. So I even had to put things on my website. And my website is down right now, but like when it was up, it had a resource page where the top is the number for the suicide hotline. We have resources that came from my church, things, you know, if you need clothes, if you're dealing with domestic violence, if you're dealing with just like heavy things that I don't know how to deal with, you can go to my site. But also my site isn't the end all. It's just like something that is there as like a tool for people to use. Yeah, a supplement.
Yeah.
And I had to do that because I'm like, I have to put barriers in place, and like everybody can't have my phone number. I'm here to pray for you. So I created a form on my website for prayer requests. And I had someone on my team that was helping me pray for people, but you had to go through that form because reaching out to me, like, it just feels heavy sometimes. And so it's not fair for me to have to like carry these things. But I wanted to just do things where the boundary was there, but people still knew that I cared and I'm trying, but I'm still just one person. And so that was hard for me because I am just used to like, girl, just come to me. But then God had to remind me, you're not God. You're not here to save anyone. Like, you're here to plant seeds. You just walk in your Christ-like ways and let people see these things. And like, you pray for people when I tell you to pray for them. Use your discernment. Point them into the right direction of resources, but that's all that you have the capacity to do because I didn't ask you to do any of these other things. And so it's been tough setting boundaries, but no has become my favorite word. Even me just saying, no, I can't do this, but like, let's try it this way, or maybe not right now, or like, here's someone that you can get in contact with to do X, Y, and Z. Even with family that usually ask me for everything, I'm like, well, we can probably hire somebody to do this. Like, I know I have the skill set, but I'm burnt out right now, so I can't provide it. And it's not always a happy response, but I need a nap. I need a break. I need to say no. I need to just break some things off of my life so that I can be okay. And so I'm still a work in progress when it comes to that, but you just have to know when to sit down, when to rest, and when to say no.
It is so important, and more women need to go on a journey to realize all that you're saying, because it really impacts how we show up as women, how we can serve and be leaders and help if we're taking on the mindset that we have to be Jesus and save everybody and sacrifice our own well-being and health and rest and all of that. And so hearing you having to go through the trials to get that knowledge, I'm so glad that you got the knowledge, because when God takes you global and does all these things, like you said, you need the foundation of knowing how to say no and knowing how to set boundaries and knowing how to surround yourself. And it's something that a lot of women that I work with in coaching, we talk about radical self-awareness. And I call it radical because, especially as Black women, and I'll just name it, it's like a radical concept for us to be into ourselves or to be aware of ourselves and attuned to, why am I crying? And are these happy tears? And how am I feeling? And really spending the time to be in stillness and to reflect and to invest in our own well-being is not something that I think is spoken about enough or is championed enough in our community. So hearing you speak to it is just very needed. So thank you for being willing to share and to express that, because sometimes I think people see it as like a vulnerability almost, or like a weakness. And even in that, like, that's biblical, that in our weakness, God is made strong. So it's okay to say, no, I can't do that, or I don't have that, or I'm not able to, instead of taking on the cape concept that we have to save everybody. So thank you.
Jesus can rest. Who are we to think that we shouldn't?
Hello, because I need a nap.
I do.
Always. We talked about this yesterday. Yes, please and thank you. And stop taking on the mindset that like no is a curse word or it needs qualifying. It's a full, complete sentence.
Please stop, period.
And I admit I'm not there yet. I'm on my journey to getting to that point, but I think full-time entrepreneurship has taught me similarly that you cannot try to be everywhere and be everything for everybody, especially also serving as a mama and a wife and all the things. It's like at some point there's got to be an entertainer's day. I don't have extra hours, so I'm very, very glad to hear that you are in a season where you have learned these things and now you can even champion them and minister to other people and help them realize it, because we need more of that.
Yeah, definitely. It's necessary. We have to take care of us. We wouldn't be great or be able to do the things that God has called us to do if we're not taking care of the vessels that He's called us to do it through. So
that is a word. Okay, so I know we have to start to wrap up, but I have a bunch more questions and we can't get to them all. So I want you to take me to what you see as your next. Like, what are you dreaming about? What are you excited about? Tell me that. Put me there.
Vacation.
Oh yeah. Okay. Where are we going?
Oh my gosh, I'm so looking forward to vacation. And I know like a lot of people are thinking like goals and stuff, but my goal is literally to just be at this season. So I'm looking forward to Memorial Day weekend. I have a little vacation with my family going to Charleston. End of July, I'm planning a vacation, hopefully out of the country. So we're just praying that all stays settled.
Because the world is crazy. So we have to.
Lots happening.
Yes. Pray that you can make it out and come on back and all that. Okay.
Yes. But I'm even just focusing more on wellness. I have like wellness goals. I want to get outside more. I want to be more active this summer. I want to write creatively. So, you know, when you write a lot for your job, sometimes you forget to just do it for fun.
Yes.
So I want to do more of that. Like I said, I'm on Substack now, so I want to be just a little bit more on my Substack, just making posts and sharing my poetry and things like that. I do have some more books in me. There's one particular book that God has shown me for women that I need to actually sit down and take some time to write. So that's a goal that I have. And then I have my next Peyton's series book that I want to put out. So Peyton has a new adventure that she'll be going on soon, and I gotta flesh that out. And then just continuing to just enjoy my full-time role. Like I just started in December, so I'm still getting my footing there. But working in the soccer world has been fun with like the World Cup and our new soccer facility here in Atlanta. So it's a lot of things happening on the professional front. But there are some things that I know God is showing me to do, even just coming back on with Raw Cove, whenever that happens. He's shown me like, you know, the direction he wants us to go into. But I think right now what I'm looking for the most is just time with me and to continue to sit with that. When I first started this sabbatical from ministry, it was more so me just like getting through like a bout of depression and like sadness and just grief and everything. But now that I'm coming out of that, I want to use the sabbatical to just have fun and to pour back into myself. Like my word for the year literally was fun. And I've been looking at my 2026 and I was like, it ain't really been too fun. So we
have to fix that. We still have time.
We have time. So I want to just focus in on my word fun and just not pressuring myself to have to accomplish so many things right now, but to just take it one step at a time. And if something gets published or launched, great. If something doesn't, great. I'll go on a picnic and just enjoy that. Like whatever God has for me, like that's what I'm looking forward to. But definitely fun.
We need more fun.
We do.
We need more fun. All of us need more fun. Yes. And I don't think it's something we value enough. So I'm glad to hear that vacation and fun and rest and pouring into family and yourself is what this next season looks like. And I would love it. So we're filming this to get to share your inspiring story and to give people insight into what it looks like to follow their dreams and to go after what, you know, they're called to do in preparation for a Dream Day event. And so Dream Day, for those who don't know, is all about sisterhood and community like this, but also stillness and being able to get quiet and to have some of that pause to hear from God and to really get clear about what you're called to do next. And then to talk about strategies and what it looks like to go after it and to be bold and to take action. So I want to know, for the people who are looking to follow in your inspiring footsteps, or whose dreams mirror a lot of what you've already accomplished, what would you say to them if they're trying to, be bold and follow their own dreams?
Oh wow, that's such a loaded question. I have so many things I want to say. First, I just want to say, like, I'm proud of you for even just like wanting to do the things. Like, I feel like God is proud of you for wanting to do the things. I think anytime we have it in our mind and we just make up our minds like, okay, I'm gonna do what it is that God has called me to do. That's something to be super proud of. So I just want people to know, like, people here are proud of you. Also, nothing has to be built right away. Like, it doesn't have to be completely finished for you to put something out there. So my thought process for Raw Cove, it wasn't 100% fleshed out, but God was like, just go ahead and post it. Even just my books and like stuff like that, I didn't have like a full marketing plan fleshed out, but God was just like, go for it. So if God is giving you a nudge to put something out there, just know that even if you only have the 40% ready, He will provide the 60% along the way. It might be right away, it might be along the journey, but like I said, I literally took me 8 years to get one book out, and the book ain't even that big. It's just a small little
But it's big in spirit.
It's big in spirit, you know? So don't feel discouraged if your thing that you're called to do isn't 100% done. Don't feel discouraged if it's not aesthetically pleasing. Like, I know we're in this culture of things just having to look so pretty, so perfect, so day in the life of a Christian influencer type thing. Like, that's not real. People want authentic, they want you, they want to see your journey from start to finish. That's what resonates more with people. So I just want to encourage every woman who aspires to do anything, whether it's ministry work, whether it is podcasting, whether it is YouTube channel, writing your books, going into education, full-time, whatever it is, just know that whatever you have at this moment, God can multiply it. And have boundaries. Know when it's time to stop working on this thing, when it's time to sit down. If God is telling you, okay, you have been working at this thing for a year or 8 years or 18 years, maybe I just need you to sit down in this season and allow me to pour back into you. Know when it's time to do that as well, and know that it's okay. And just remember that you don't have to have it all together. Like, you don't have to have every answer right now. You can go into things with question marks. You can go into things with pages of your plan a little bit blank, because God is going to be the one that is sitting in that boardroom with you, working things out. Like, He is the CEO of every business. He is the leader, the founder of every company, every ministry. He is everything that you need. So just know that as long as He's on your team, like, you're good, and it's gonna be fine. Like, it's gonna work out. You're gonna impact people. And then also, don't let the quantity of things like discourage you. There's sometimes when I sell a great amount of books. There's sometimes when I sell not a great amount of books. I don't know how many books I've sold on Amazon recently, but I'm pretty sure if I look at it, it's probably like one over the last few months. But I'm not allowing that to discourage me, because that one person that ordered the book probably really needed it. Their child probably learned something from it. Even when people don't purchase books from me, but we're able to connect at events and I tell them about my books, it may have sparked something with them to want to buy their children more Christian books, or to even just follow up on their dream that they had. So you don't even know, like, the conversations that you're having with people. They may not get the thing that you're called to do, like they may not participate in it or buy it, but you're still planting seeds. So just know that every moment of your journey matters in some way, even if it seems like it doesn't matter. And congratulations in advance for whatever y'all are watching or doing, or starting back up or continuing, like whatever it is, God is pleased. So
I could not have said that any better. I'm like, you were talking to me.
I really was. I was like,
yes, please and thank you. Received all of it, because that is just so excellent, so rich, so much there. And I could talk to you forever, but I have to make sure we wrap up. I'm so grateful to you for sharing your story and for being open to letting other women be inspired by your journey, even the parts that are rippled or, not as polished and prim as other people might want to see it or pretend that things are. Thank you for being raw in this space and just inviting in what the Lord would have you to say and do, because I know people needed to hear it and that they will be blessed by it. So thank you for that. And tell me, for people who want to connect with Peyton, people who want to connect with you, people who want to, be plugged in when Raw Cove relaunches, how do they find Michaela?
Yeah, so you can find me at a dash of Michaela on Instagram, I believe Facebook, Pinterest, all the things. That's my personal page. Raw Cove is simply at Raw Cove on Instagram and Facebook. And then my books are at Little Miss Peyton Stories on Facebook and Instagram. But if you go to my page, you'll find all the things, my website, everything. Raw Cove's website is down right now. But just follow us and stay tuned for what's happening in the future, and we'll be back soon.
Yes, do all of that. Please and thank you. Thank you for taking the time. And this is a great conversation. I'm looking forward to having many more. So if you are new here, my name is Taylor, and this is going to be a series where we get to talk to amazing women like Michaela. So make sure you like and subscribe and share this with a woman who needs to be inspired to reconnect with her dreams and to do the work that is going to inspire and spark inspiration in other people. So thank you, Michaela. Thank you for this time, and y'all have a good one. Bye.